After 25 days into 2022, Black Country New Road released their second studio album, Ants From Up There. Ants From Up There was an instant success with musicianship that was insane, lyrics that were great, and overall music that developed from their last album for the first time. On January 31st, lead guitarist Isaac Wood announced his departure from the band 4 days before the album was released. This was a shock to many fans, but the band's rise to fame put a lot of pressure and unwanted anxiety on Isaac Wood. What follows next on Ants From Up There is what I consider to be the album of the year. Now the band starts off with probably their worst song. It's not a song on the album. It's called The Intro. It's a very song just using instruments. It shows off their musicianship a lot in this and how talented they really are. Other than that, there's no lyrics. There's a little motif in here that we'll hear on the last song. But other than that, it's a pretty nice intro. I guess 8 out of 10. And then that builds into Chaos Space Marine.
So I'm leaving this body, and I'm never coming home again, yeah.
Chaos Space Marine is the second worst song on the album that has actual lyrics. Well, actually, it's the worst song on the album that has lyrics, but it's still really good. It has this element and theme of kind of spaceness to it, kind of like escapism a little bit. I get that. Isaac Wood sings, and I'm leaving this body. It feels like he's escaping to a different world, a different person, because he doesn't want to be, the person that he is. And that's a really, really awesome thing, or sad thing, but a really awesome thing to think about. It's so smart and clever. 9 out of 10. And that leads us into Concorde. Now Concorde it's an airplane, so it was a very fast airplane, and he relates it to his relationship that ended as kind of like this thing that you could never catch, but you have. The whole album, he kind of talks about his relationship and how it ended, and also the band and what kind of pressures it put on him. Some of the lyrics I have right here. But for less than a moment, we'd share the same light, and then Isaac will suffer, Concorde will fly. To me, that feels like for a second they're together and they're happy, but then he suffers once she leaves, and Concorde, the relationship will fly and goes away. And again, it flies very quickly, and it's just gone. It's just gone. Towards the end of the song, he sings, "And I'll come to like a child, and Concorde and I die free this time." To me, that sounds like he has this hopefulness into him, like a child, that he and Concorde will be together. When I refer to Concorde, I'm referring to his relationship, his partner, that they'll be together, and this time it'll actually be a successful relationship. 10 out of 10, this song is a banger. It's the second best song on the album. Listen to it. Then that leads us to the very unique, very stripped back, and kind of just like space song, Bread Song.
I never felt the crumbs until you said this place is not for any man.
This song it's like they're just playing and they don't care about the time signature or even anything like that. They're just playing and then they're just building up together. And when it builds up to the end of the chorus, it's so good. It bangs so well. Some notable lyrics would be, "To the headset that you wear." So this and a couple songs later on refers to the long distance relationship that he has to deal with. And it's not easy for both of them. And Isaac feels like he's trying a lot more because he sings, "Okay, I just woke up and you already don't care." it's just sad. It feels like he's putting in way too much and not getting enough out. And then towards the chorus, he sings, "I never felt the crumbs until you said, this place is not for any man, nor particles of bread." So what he means by that is the particles of bread of you leaving a little bit of yourself behind, you know? So, and particles of bread in bed is kind of like your bed is like your sacred spot, and then leaving part of yourself in somebody else's bed is, it's like, I don't know what I'm trying to put here, but it's so emotional, and it's so heartbreaking too, because he doesn't even realize Concorde left behind parts of them until Concorde says, "I can't be here anymore, and this place is not for anyone or in particles of bread." And that is a crushing lyric, 9.5 out of 10, another banger. Then that leads to Good Will Hunting.
And if we're on a burning starship, the escape pods filled with your friends, your childhood film photos.
Good Will Hunting has this driving forwardness to it. The guitar is awesome. I know Isaac's always awesome. The backing vocals are very awesome. The musicianship in this album is crazy. You can tell they're a 7-piece band, and it's so good. Everyone is like mastered of their instruments. It's awesome. And at one point, you know, Isaac sings, "And if we're on a burning starship, the escape pods filled with your friends, your childhood film photos. There's no room for me to go. Oh, I'd wait there, float with the wreckage, fasten the longsword, traverse the Milky Way, trying to get home to you." It screams that Isaac needs Concorde. Isaac needs them, but there's no room for Isaac in their life. And that's a very, you know, sad like thought, and it's great. It's great. It's an awesome song. It's another 9.5 out of 10, and it keeps the ball flowing into Haldern. Haldern is, if Bread's song was stripped back, Haldern is stripped back even more. This song is just basically Isaac and a couple of violins, and it is awesome. Isaac starts it off with "Ignore the hole I've dug again," which implies that he's dug the hole before, but it implies that he feels he's kind of down, and he's saying, "Ignore that I'm down again." And then he sings this verse that is so powerful. He sings, "We formed a ring around your home to stop your body leaving, but you burned the final question and you rose out through the ceiling." To me, that feels like literal. It can take it like a literal sense or a metaphor sense. Metaphor sense, I'm thinking about marriage, like an actual ring. When he also when he says when you burn the final question, but the ring around him, I'm thinking is like kind of like literal, like not like literal, but like he's trying to say, we try to keep you here so you don't leave me, but you left anyway, and that's very heartbreaking. This song gets a 9 out of 10. And that leads to Mark's theme. So Mark's theme is a beautiful, beautiful piano, violin, saxophone, again showing mad, like awesome musicianship. And this one is about Lewis Evans' dad who died. And it's very sad. And Lewis Evans is a saxophone player, so once you know that and you listen to it again, you realize how heavy it is and how good of a song it really is. It's an 8.5 out of 10 because, you know, there's no lyrics, but it's so beautiful. It can hit really good. It can hit as hard as a 10 out of 10, but I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10. Then that leads us to the final 3 songs of the album, and these ones are long and heavy. And that starts with "The Place Where He Inserted the Blade."
Show me the place where he inserted the blade. Oh, praise the Lord, burn my house. I get lost, I freak out.
So on this song, we start out with this very nice piano and this very beautiful guitar, leading into Isaac talking about the time he broke his arm, and leading it to talk about how he doesn't want to be noticed, and that's like it's very sad. And then he also sings about Oh, that every time I try to make lunch for anyone else in my head, I end up dreaming of you and you come to me. To me, that means he's thinking about making lunch for somebody else because he used to make lunch for his partner. And he thinks about his partner coming to him, literally coming to him, and that everything is going to be all right. Because then later on he sings the lyric about, and you come home and hold me tight as if it never happened at all. To me, what it is the breakup in the relationship and the heartbreak that occurs, and he's thinking about how he hopes, well, he's fantasizing that Concorde will come back and as everything will be all right and nothing ever happened. This song's a banger, the ending's a banger. It gets a 9.5. No, it gets a 10 out of 10. Then that leads to the unique snow globes. Snow Globes is a very weird slow burner of a song. It's got this crazy, super loud, which sounds low-key, a little bit terrible, but also good drumming towards the middle. There's a couple of like religiousness vibes to it. He's thinking about a clamp. He must let the clamp do what the clamp does best. And to me, that feels like the clamp is his fans, the fans they have. And you can't take the fans away. And the fans are very pressured, so you just gotta let them do what they gotta do. And to me, that is a very heavy lyric, and it does get mentioned again in Basketball Streets, which is the last song coming up. 9 out of 10. I know people don't like the song, but I love it. It's great. 9 out of 10. And then that leads to the epic conclusion, Snow Globes.
Oh, you're generous alone to me. Your crippling interest in my bed sleeps now when
Snow Globes is this awesome build up of songs. It builds up and then it goes down and builds up again, but it stays. It's always building this way. So it goes up, boom, until the ending when it's just all out, and you can just tell that Isaac's singing with everything he's got. You can tell the band's playing with everything they've got, and that this feels like the ending of the band. Even the band has continued going. It feels like the last album that they're ever gonna release, which I hope they're not, and I know it's gonna be, the next album's gonna be even as good. Probably not as good, but it's still gonna be great. But this song is so heavy and so good. It starts out with Concorde flies in my room, tears the house to shreds, which and again refers to his relationship and how it's very destructive and how it just burns through the house, tears my house to shreds. That can be the way he's like putting on himself, displaying himself. And then the room, Concorde flies in my room, can be in his mind inside. So Concorde flies in my room. It's in their head, his partner's still in their head. And then he mentions lunch again with the lyric, and I'm feeling kind of normal with the packed lunch. So he's starting to feel better. He's starting to feel better and be happy again, and it's good. It's awesome. It's good to hear that. It's an awesome lyric. And then he sings, and the clamp is a cracked smile, cheek, and it tortures me. So here we get the clamp again. Again, the clamp is something that's not letting him have joy. Not even a cracked smile through his cheek. And that is a very awesome metaphor. This album is filled with awesome metaphors that I've been diving into for a long time now. And then it ends with the biggest, loudest, craziest, awesome, all out, giving everything they've got, while Isaac screams about Charlie XCX and about his bed sheets being wet and about your generous loan to me, your crippling interest, which is also just, I don't even know how you think of a line like that. It's amazing. He's talking about how the fans have given so much, but what the interest is on him is just too much. This song is fantastic. It literally is the whole album wrapped into one, and it it just has so much power and so much emotion. It's a 12 out of 10, and it carries this album to what I give it a 10 out of 10. This album is incredible. On February 4th, only 35 days into 2022, the album of the year was released. And yeah, so Ants from Up There is incredible, but then again, it's not for everyone. I can acknowledge that. Isaac Wood does sound interesting in some songs, like his vocals. I can see why you wouldn't like it. Personally, I like it. I like how he's doing emotion over sounding good, and I love that more than sounding good. I like the raw emotion to it. And overall, this album is really great. You know, again, it's not for everybody. It has some interesting sounds to it. It's not going to be a hit for everybody, and that's okay. To me, this album took a little bit of time to grow on me, but now it's so good, and it delivers home every time I listen to it, and I can't get enough of it, and that's why for me it's my album of the year for 2022. So with that being said, what is your guys' album of the year for 2022? What do you guys think of Ants from Up There? Have you listened to it? Have you not? If you listened to it, what do you think about it? Let me know in the comments below. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Peace.